Hello, it's Sunday the 1st of May and today's the day I've decided to plant my two large red bananas into this border in this sheltered courtyard at the rear of the cottage. These two plants, also known as Ensete Ventricosum Maurelii or just Ensete Maurelii, are not hardy plants in the UK. There's no way these plants would survive a British winter, so every year in around October I take them inside and protect them, and I bring them out at around the beginning of May. If there's any chance of a frost, I will protect them until we get into the full summer months. These are 5 years old and they started off less than a foot tall, so they've done really well. And I've done several videos on these two plants and you can find them on my channel. There's a playlist on the red bananas. Last year I had them in two very large planters, but this year I'm actually going to plant them in the ground in this border. So in October time this year I will have to dig them up again and take them indoors. I've done a video on winter protection for the red banana, but in a nutshell, I dig them up. I keep them in very dry compost. I don't water them. Occasionally I tip them up because they do tend to accumulate water in around the leaf stumps and that can cause rot. And then in the springtime, when there's no chance of any frost, I bring them out for a couple of weeks to acclimatise. These have actually been out for a couple of weeks. I've given them a gentle watering and I've had a little bit of rain, and this one has already started producing a lovely big leaf. This one seems to be lagging behind a bit, but when I peel back the layers of the new leaves I can see some lovely fresh green growth here. It's feeling a bit limp. I suspect it needs some water, so today I'm going to get them in the ground and give them a good soaking. This border here to my left and to my right is going to be an exotic jungle type border, and it's going to be populated with lots of other plants. I've got several other bananas, some palms, some criniums, lots of cannas which I'm going to split and divide and put around this border, a tetrapanax. I've also got a couple of palm plants which are not really hardy, but I'm going to try and experiment with them this year, and I'm going to put them in and leave them and see if I can get them through the winter. Of course I will protect them, but these will not be left out. These will have to go back in October time, but in a few weeks time these will start putting on lots of new growth and they'll probably reach about 12 feet tall with lots of lovely huge great big red impressive leaves. They're incredible specimen plants. What I've already done is I've cleared the courtyard. There was a massive big conifer here and another one over there, so I've cleared those out. Then this border here and here, they were both covered in weed control fabric, and on top of that there was gravel, and that soil had not seen the light of day for many years. So I dug it over, I added some pelleted chicken manure and some blood, fish and bone. So this whole bed here and here has now been enriched and it's ready to receive plants. Whilst I was digging over the border, I discovered that there was a drainage pipe through here. It had to be there somewhere because there's a drain pipe coming down, and where I've put this piece of wood here, I'll just move this out of the way so that you can see it. There is a drainage pipe, and I understand that goes to some kind of soak away under the gravel here. So that, in a way, dictates what I can plant in this area. But it doesn't really matter because I didn't really want to plant either of these two just here. I'm going to put that one over there, and I'm going to put this one here. And they will become feature plants in this border. And I'll plant all the other things in and amongst them. So now, let's start digging the hole and getting these into the ground. Before I start planting them, let's have a closer look at this one. Again, I'm just going to tap it in. It feels quite solid and resonant, which suggests to me it's not soggy and rotten on the inside. But if you were to look at these leaves, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this plant was on its way out. But on closer inspection, if you peel one back, you can see living plants there beneath it. So that's just the natural order of things. That's just how they are, and that will form the trunk. You could, if you wanted to, tidy it up by cutting that away, and I probably will do that in due course of time. The compost here is very dry. Even though it's been outside for a few weeks, it's still very, very dry. And that means it's gone into a little bit of a state of dormancy in the cool, dark garage, where it's not been watered since last October. However, neither has it been allowed to go below 5 degrees centigrade. I've already mentioned it, and I'll mention it again. These are just not hardy plants. If you were to leave this outside in the UK, it would die. This is about 5 years old. I wouldn't want to lose it. Let's start digging the hole. I'm digging the hole close to the front of the border here because they have a very wide span at the top when the leaves start to open out. So I'm bringing it to the front to give it space around the back. This is lovely, rich, fertile soil. I've added pelleted chicken manure and bloodfish and bone, and I'm going to make a great big hole for the root ball to go into. I've reached sand here, which is a good sign because it indicates I've got good drainage. Sand is very free draining because it likes rich soil, but it also likes well drained soil. And of course I've left this piece of wood here because that just indicates where that drainage pipe is. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offer it up just to make sure that the hole is big enough and deep enough. And despite the fact that these are in relatively small pots, they're actually very heavy because there's probably 2 or 3 at least, possibly even 4 or 5 buckets of water in here. So let's just see what happens now when we get this. And you can see the water here which is spilling out of what are effectively cups at the base of each leaf. So let me see if I can manhandle and bully this out of this pot. Can you see all the water pouring out there? That's why I have to tip it up in the winter to avoid it rotting. And this is the plant. And let's just see. Yeah, that's going to be easily deep enough. In fact, possibly a little bit too deep. So I'm going to backfill it a little bit. So, and there's the plant. The hole is a little bit too deep. I'm going to backfill it, but look, just look at these roots here. Let's just cut through a few of these. There's no sign of any life. These are dead roots from last year. They're a little bit rotten, but I'm going to cut them away. However, all around here, I can see the signs of life. There are new roots starting to grow. Sadly, I've just broken one off, but it proves the point. So that is a living plant. I'm going to put a bit more soil back into the hole. I don't want to bury it any deeper than that because it might cause rot here. So let's just get a bit more soil back in there. So let's just try it. Let's offer it up and see. Yeah, that's about right. That's going to be the soil level there, so I might even bring that up a little bit more. Surprising how few roots the plant has actually got. It's quite fortuitous that it doesn't have enormous roots because it makes it slightly easier to dig it up next year. Let's put a bit more soil back in. I really do want to avoid planting it too deep and causing it to rot. That's going to be fine. I'm going to add some more pelleted chicken manure in here. Not too much, you don't want to burn the base of the plant. And I'm just going to dig that in. And that's like a slow release. When the roots find it, they'll use it and some of it will dissolve into the soil. I'm going to put some water in the hole next. They are incredibly hungry and thirsty plants, which you can probably imagine they would be, given the amount of growth they make. Sometimes it seems that these are growing several inches every day, and I think they probably are. So in the summertime, when these are growing and it's sunny and light, I'll water them at least once a day, possibly twice. Providing it's got free drain soil underneath, which this has because of the sand, it doesn't matter, because the excess water will disappear. Right, now then, I'm going to have a look at this to see if there's a particular orientation that I want. I think I'll have that leaf towards the back. Let's get it in, and let's just lower that in. I want it to be vertical. I want it near the front so that it's got space at the back for the leaves to open up freely. So I think that's going to be about right. Let's get this soil back in. And I'm going to create a little channel here just around it, so that when I water it, the water soaks down and not over the edge of here. Again, I'm leaving that channel there around the base of it to allow the water to soak down. And I shall give it some water. Eventually, when the whole border is planted up, this will be covered in wood chips as a mulch. But you can see there the way the water is gathering around the root ball. I've just sprayed a load of soil on here, so I'm going to give it a wash off. So that's one of them successfully in the ground. It doesn't look much, but come back in a few weeks and I'll give you an update. It will be soaring up into the sky. The nice thing about this location is it's near two wonderful brick walls, and they will absorb the heat during the daytime and radiate it at night. This is a real sun trap. This is the perfect environment for that red banana. I know it's going to do well this year. Let's get the other one in. It's going over there, and it will enjoy all the same benefits. And then I will plant in between with my selection of the tropical and exotic plants. So there you go, two very large red bananas, Ensete Ventricosum Maurelii, planted in the border where they will enjoy the summer sun and they will shoot up to the sky. Please do subscribe and come back and have a look at these, because they're incredibly impressive. So that's the bananas planted. The next job is to plant in between with lots of other tropical plants which I brought with me from the previous house. So that's going to be a tropical border, not for this video, but I will post the link to that video somewhere up here just above this one. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.